One of the questions Glenn and I often hear is, what should we take on a cruise, or more likely, what should we not take on a cruise? So here at Planet Cruise Weekly, we've decided to, give you some tips and information with this week's episode. We're going to tell you how to pack for a cruise. But before we go into our bare essentials, sounds a bit worrying, here's what some of our specialists, some of our colleagues at Planet Cruise said that they can't cruise without.
When I go on a cruise, I can't live without my credit card.
My passport, sun cream,
My sunglasses.
my favourite book.
My travel journal.
My phone charger.
My hair strings.
When I leave for a cruise, I can't leave without my Speedos.
Remember, the following are going to be simply suggestions and not must-bring items. Now, the idea is just trying to make the holiday a little bit easier, and if you end up taking a couple of these tips, then we've done our job, which is what we're here for. Now, before we start getting into the nitty-gritty, please hit the subscribe button and bell so you can get notifications whenever we release a video. It's simple. Ding, dong, done.
If we don't mention anything that you would definitely include, please do comment in the comments below.
Now, obviously, the first thing to consider is, of course, the destination. Now, many of us, when we go away on cruising, like to go to the hot climes. And of course, depending on where you go, you obviously have to pack accordingly. Now, of course, if you're going to somewhere like the Eastern Caribbean or the Med in the middle of the summer, you are, of course, going to take your sun cream. Make sure you've got that high factor to obviously stop that sunburn. Now, the other thing, if you're going to places like Alaska or even up into Norway, then it might be very, very cold. Of course, you're going to take your warm clothing, but please also take your suntan lotion because, again, even in those conditions, you can still get very, very sunburned.
And even if you're going to the Caribbean, obviously, particularly during that season, maybe over Christmas and beyond, it's going to be really, really hot. But there are also those
Liquid
really,
sunshine.
There are very intense short downpours. So it'd be a good idea to have a lightweight waterproof with you that you can take on tour. Actually, another really nice little tip. A lot of people get caught out by just taking a pair of flip-flops. They're not great to wear, so take some decent sandals with a good sole because that will give you a lot more support on those cobbled streets that are very prevalent around that part of the world. Also, if you are doing destination research, really important, we have got a load of different little videos that we've put together for you about the different destinations around the world. I think they're called Keith's Top Tips. I don't know why. So all you need to do is click the link here to go to the website and have a look for some of our top tips for destinations all over the world. Now, we also have a team of highly trained destination and cruising specialists who are just a phone call away. So you can call the number below and we can give you the best advice on any location you want to go to. Next tip, and this is a really important one. Everyone always overestimates the amount of clothing they need to take with them on a cruise. You always end up with half a suitcase full of stuff that you don't use. So our tip on this, and Glenn and I both do this, is when you're laying stuff out, after you've got everything out that you think you want to take with you, cut it down by 50% and then only pack that 50%.
It's not going to go down well with the women.
It's not, I know it's not going to go down, but honestly, this will help. And that therefore means you've got more space for buying things and bringing them back with you as well. More space in the case.
Yeah.
That's really good, particularly if you're doing a transatlantic on Queen Mary 2. You're going over to New York, do a bit of shopping, you want to come back, take advantage of those great, Macy's, all the great places, and
Okay.
It's a good tip. It's a good tip. Please, ladies, believe us.
Now again, when you're bringing on the backpack or a smaller bag, it does make life so much easier once you're through security on board the ship. Now sometimes it can take time for your suitcases to get to the room, so it can be helpful if you embark with a few essentials in the backpack, especially if you've got kids with you. You can start your holiday as soon as you get on board, so maybe put some towels, swim shorts on there, and while you're waiting for your suitcase to get to your room and it's nice and sunny outside, make your way straight around the pool and they can have a dip just to cool off before your holiday gets started.
Really good for tours as well. You might want to take, actually, I'll tell you what we do sometimes.
You fill up loads of food in there, didn't you, for the breakfast?
Go up to the buffet, make yourself a couple of sandwiches, put them into a little backpack and take them off on tour with you.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised even in the coldest locations around the world when it's still going to be sunny and you can get caught out. And also you get a lot of glare off the sea as well, so if there is sun, even when it's cloudy, you don't even realise you can get tanned, particularly when you're out at sea. So it's really, really, really important. I've seen loads of people brag about not needing sun cream, and then getting burnt to a crisp, particularly in the middle of the Caribbean.
And the other thing as well, you need to get decent stuff. There's no point going to the local pound shop and buying something for £1 because it won't work, and especially for the kids. We've just bought some for Brooke now. It was about 30 quid a bottle because it was good for her skin, but you know it's going to be safe.
Yeah, get if you've got children, get specifically ones. Get specific sun cream that is designed to be on children, because children's skin is different and it does need more protection. Even if you think you are, kind of God's gift to sun worshipping. And I know we're going a bit dad about this, but it is really, really important. The SPF rating, the UVA rating is really important. The other thing as well is apply lots of after sun, or even better, if you are in the Caribbean, get some actual aloe vera. The guys will walk along on the beach selling it. It is not a con. It is incredible. I used to recommend it for my dancers. I know dancers that got caught out with this. We've got aloe vera for them. The next day, literally, you wouldn't have even been able to tell that they were burnt. And these were quite bad sunburns. So aloe vera, really high factor SPF. Look after yourself when you're out there, regardless of where you are around the world.
So now again, this seems a bit silly, but make sure that with your camera and any other electrical items, your passport and even your money is well protected. Now, having a few waterproof freezer bags can really come in handy when you want to keep your valuables dry, especially around the pool or down by the beach area. They don't take up too much room and are perfect for sealing these small items, as I said, to protect from any splashes around the pool, especially if you're around the kids' area, because they're going to get very, very wet.
Yeah, they're really, really handy. And also, if obviously that's a good little homemade cheapy option that you can do.
Yeah.
The other thing as well is that you can buy things like this. Yeah. Other brands are available, and these are really, really handy as well. They're not massively expensive, are they?
But it's just quite handy to put stuff in.
Really handy. Again, and most of them have Velcro, so they offer you a lot of protection. Well, you've got that. I don't know what that attachment's called there, but the one that you push together, like those bags.
It's push together Velcro thing.
Push together Velcro, is it? Is that the technical term?
That's the
and literally as simple as that. So you can literally carry that then, and make sure that your phone is always safe and it's not going to get wet or damaged. Last thing you want is to have loads of soaked currency, or lose your passport and get it soaking wet, or even your phone. Now, another suggestion that you may not have thought of, but actually could come in really, really useful, particularly if you're travelling as a family or you've got a lot of documents, is a document holder. Now, we got this one from Seabourn. You do sometimes get given them when you're on board cruise ships as freebies or prizes if you take part in some of the entertainment on board, but you can buy them online really, really, really cheaply.
No point
as well.
having them, is it, once you're on board?
No, it's very true. Well, for the journey back, it's quite handy. You never know. Or you could replace an old one with a new one, but I get what you're saying. Really handy. And these are just really, really good because you can just literally, all your stuff, all your important travel bits in one place. So particularly if there's like 4 or 5 different passports, lots of different tickets and things like that, it all goes in. And once it's there, visas, the like, you've got it. I think that's a really, really good way of doing it, particularly as I know my darling wife has lost a couple of passports in the last couple of years, and now I make sure I carry all the stuff for the whole family in something very much like this. You mock, but this is really, really important.
Okay, just hear us out. Yeah. Sticky notes might sound like a bit of a bizarre thing to bring on a cruise ship, but think about how helpful they will be. You can leave notes for family members or friends in other cabins telling them where to meet you, and you can note down the times you'll need to meet on tour or when you have your dinner reservations. They can be useful for all sorts of other little reminders and hardly take up any room in your luggage at all. The last reason to bring them is my favourite. They are good to leave your cabin steward little messages, and no, not like Keith does and say I love you, but for things like requesting extra pillows or even let them know what time you'll be out of the cabin so they can clean in peace. Unexpected perhaps, but just a little bit of extra help for your cruise satisfaction. Because most ships do offer a laundry service, never always the cheapest, but they do offer it. And I mean, most people don't want to go on holiday and start doing their washing, do they? But sometimes,
unless they want to find out the gossip on board.
Yeah, that's true.
Many
world problems being solved at the laundry.
Yeah.
Now, this means that you can pack less and re-wear clothes, and rest assured, many people do, especially on longer cruises, sort of 15 up to world cruises. Now, also stick to similar colours. If you pack clothing of a similar colour or all pastels, for example, it's easier to mix and match and make the use of everything you bring repeatedly. So again, just be a little bit sensible when you're packing your clothes. Now, the last quick tip we have for your clothes is to bring a portable steamer or an anti-wrinkle spray.
Yeah, my old granddad used to swear by it. Used to get it a couple of sprays before formal night.
He looked
smooth it out.
Smooth as anything. Lovely,
was.
There you go. Now, they usually won't have irons in the cabin because of fire risks, of course, but they have irons in the laundrette, or you can ask reception. Now, having said this, cruise ship laundrettes can get quite busy, so if you have the option to uncrease your clothes in your cabin, it will make life a lot easier. Another quick tip as well.
Yeah, you're going to say it, aren't you?
Leave the shower on.
Leave the shower on, exactly. Close the door.
Leave the shower on, very hot, close the door. It's probably not economically viable, but yeah.
Now, of course, we are in the digital age. Most of us have either a mobile phone or a tablet or both.
Yeah.
Most of us will take them on board the cruise and will want to check it at some point. And the last thing you want is a dead phone or a dead tablet at the point that you want to use it. So a really good tip is to take one of these portable chargers with you. Really, really, really useful. You charge them up before you go,
Yeah.
or you charge them up overnight in your cabin, and then take them out on tour with you or take them out onto deck with you. And literally plug them in. It's really, really simple, and it will charge your phone and give you some energy so you can make it through the whole of the day without this going dead.
Now let's talk about cameras themselves. Now most people nowadays use the camera on their phones like I do, but budding photographers or those who prefer an old school camera, make sure they bring along everything they need to take their snaps. Now as you can see in our 17 do's and don'ts on Planet Cruise Weekly, in the top right hand corner, one of the tips was to take plenty of photos. Now when me and him started at sea, we used to have to put the cloth over our head and no one could move for a minute, could they? That's how long we were in at sea, but it has moved on from there. Now for me, there's no question about this because I like to reminisce on what I did on holiday, and the best way is to keep those amazing memories. There's nothing better than a month or two after your cruise looking back on what good times you had.
Now, this is one which a lot of people forget and then have to buy on board, and we really would recommend you take some headphones with you. Multiple reasons. First of all, if you are doing a fly cruise and you want to get there and you've got in-flight entertainment, the ones they give you on board the plane are always rubbish.
Yep.
So having your own pair, which are better, are good. Other thing as well is when you're on board, it's really, really nice. A, for walking around the deck. If you're in at night and you want to go out and do a bit of exercise, I love to just have my headphones in, listen to a bit of music. But even more importantly than that, if you're sharing the cabin with someone else and they want to go to bed, they're quite small places, a lot of cruise ship cabins. You want to have the option to stay up a little bit later, watch something on the computer, you know, listen to some music, and you can do that with your own pair of headphones. Plus, if you're out on tour, again, you're on the tour bus.
And you're fed up with the guide, you just put them on, you don't have to listen to
Absolutely,
them.
you don't always want to listen to the guide, do you? To tell you about the history, you just want to listen to your own music. So take a pair of
A
headphones.
lot of people like that when they went to see your shows, didn't they?
Oh mate, honestly, it was like a silent disco.
Now, in researching for this episode, I was surprised not to find this tip anywhere, but this is one of the things I take on holiday when I go. Usually cabins have a small amount of plug sockets. I've seen people unplug their TV so they can plug in their straighteners and chargers, for instance. Now the main thing you need to make sure is whatever cruise line you go on, you check what plug socket and voltage they use. For example, Carnival, we use American plug sockets. Costa, we use European, where someone like P&O will have the normal plugs on there.
Okay.
So you need to make sure that if you're taking these on, you've got the right ones. There's nothing worse than getting into a cabin and they don't fit. The one thing I probably would recommend is spend a little bit more money and get one of the multi-adapters that can be used around the world.
Yeah, I mean, they do have them on board in the shop, majority of the time.
Yeah,
if
they're
you do
always
visit,
going to be more expensive.
Much more expensive, yeah, and not as good. So a multi-adapter is the best idea. And remember, not all the same ships in the same fleet will have the same plugs as well, because sometimes companies will buy a second-hand ship from somewhere else that may have been an ex-American ship, for instance, but going into a British fleet. So always check with the experts such as him before you actually join. Honestly, Walkie Talkies, you can get them again online. You know, you can get packs of 2, 3, or even 4 of them. Really, really, really useful, particularly when you're on board, because you can give one to your child, and you know pretty much that you can keep in contact at all times and know where they are and know what they're doing. Yes, some ships do offer to kind of let you rent them or borrow them, but to have your own is always preferable. So it's a really, really good tip. Even if you've got, even if you haven't got kids with you and you're an older family and you want to go out on the ship and you want to, because some of these ships are huge.
Yeah, I mean, we've just come back from Independence of the Seas, which is a huge ship, and I took the family on, and we were on for a few days, and obviously Brooke was in a kids club, Hells was doing something else, I was around the pool area. So to have these is really, really good, and it would have made life a lot easier. You can do it on Wi-Fi, but of course, obviously, if you're doing it on Wi-Fi, it's going to eat into your data. Now, again, if you want to see the video of us on Independence of the Seas, we took the family on, click the link there, and that will take you straight to that video.
Now, there's plenty of things that we haven't included today. For instance, like checking with your GP before leaving. Remember to pack medication. Check with your airline on what you can take before joining the flight to get to the cruise. Loads of little things like that. If there's anything you think that we really should have mentioned that we didn't, get in touch in the comments below. Join the discussion. Thanks very much for watching. We'll see you again soon.
Cheers, guys. Hiya. Thanks for watching the video. Now don't forget to like, comment and subscribe below. Remember to click that bell to get all notifications, And if you're looking for more fantastic travel video content, like this click on the videos to the right hand side. It'll be really informative. Or click on the Planet logo to the left to go to our website for some fantastic deals. Keep cruising.